Georgia Tech interim head coach Brent Key. And Coach, if you could open this up with some remarks before we take questions.
Yeah, really good team win for these guys to get up, to be down, to persevere, to keep fighting through. It really showed the character of these guys, and that was one of the things we talked about this week was winning each day with our character and our grit. I think those things showed up today. There's things all three phases we've got to work on. We've got to get back in tomorrow, get cleaned up and fixed, be able to move on to the next game. But really happy to come out with a win right here. Some of the things we focused on during the week was being more efficient on offense, first and 10, P and 10, and then third downs, being more efficient on third downs. Some of the third downs were still a little bit too long, longer than we wanted, but we showed the ability to run the football today that really helped out against a really good team. Against a really good defensive run team, we were able to get a hat on a hat at times, and I thought the running backs did a really good job of finding a hole, accelerating through it, and getting to the second level. So that's what you ask is be able to get through and get a hat on a hat and have those guys have the ability to make arm tackles. So defense, again, obviously we got things we got to correct. Gave up some chunk plays in there, but their back was against the wall several times. They really bowed up and created some really important turnovers at some key times in the game. So I think they had 4 turnovers in the game, 4 turnover recoveries. We had one that was a very inopportune fluke thing to happen. Zach, I'm sure he'll learn from it, and we'll all learn from it, and be able to, freshman out there, a lot of things he's going to learn from. And I'll tell you what, being a competitor ain't one of them. I mean, he's a dadgum competitor. Everything he does. Now, we got to take him in the film room and teach him to be smarter on some of those things, dishing those hits out. But golly, it's like an old school Mike linebacker right there on some of those plays. But just the energy on the sideline, he was doing some of those things and brought the team together. We played as a team, stuck together the entire time. We're really proud of these guys.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take questions for Coach Key. Rod, if you want to start us out.
As the game went on, you look down at the stat sheet, you'd see that you guys were winning the game in every phase except for the scoreboard. You had to figure once you started getting some of those turnovers that was what you were looking for to turn the game around.
Yeah, I mean that's why stats don't matter. Stats are part of it, but at the end of the day, it's who wins and who loses. So you got to find a way to win. You got to be able to manage the game as the fourth quarter comes along, and really the drive of the game. We talk about things in the fourth quarter, things that happen, good, bad, ugly. But that drive right before halftime, we were able to get down to get points. It was really critical, obviously, to the outcome of the game. I tell the guys all the time, there's going to be 4, 5, 6 plays in the game that are going to be the difference in the football game. As a player, though, you just don't know when they're going to happen.
Okay.
You ran, I think it was 166 yards without Jeff, and obviously you run, I think, for 60 or 50 previous 2 games. Kind of what did you see, especially with being shorthanded in Garden?
Just work. Go to work, find a way. There's no excuses who's playing, who's in there. Our job as coaches is to find the best way to put a complete game plan together with all 3 phases and do the things that we feel like we have some strengths in and we can attack on their side of the football. It was good to see Dante be finally 100% healthy out there today and make some really good runs at some key times.
Kelly.
Can you talk a little bit? I mean, your team was kind of decimated with guys sick, and then you had some injuries in the game even, and guys out before that. And can you kind of just talk about the mentality of getting your guys to step up? A guy like Clayton that was sick through the week, and him stepping up, and other guys.
Yeah, I mean, we had several guys throughout the week that were sick and had the flu and whatnot, and had a couple more come down last night and ended up missing them in the football game. And injuries, that's football. That's what it is, and you can't rely just on one person to be able to make every play and to do their job all the time. That's why you practice first and second team guys. You give those guys opportunities and reps to learn, to develop, and anytime there's one helmet away, one ankle away from being out there on the field, and I thought the guys that had to do that today stepped in and did a nice job.
Right here.
Yeah, you mentioned how Zach is a competitor. How impressive was that first start to show that level of mental toughness, just the amount he was getting hit, and then to bounce back after the pick six the way he did?
Oh gosh, I mean he's got ice in his veins for a young kid like that. Whether it was sitting in there and standing in there and making the throws, we had to make the throws, lowering his shoulder, get the first down, which, like I said, we got to work on that. That was after the first one, he started sliding some. So, but he's a competitor, and as I've said before, that showed all the way through high school. I mean, anytime a quarterback can win 3 state championships in 2 different programs, 2 different totally styles of offense, it shows that they've got something to them that people are going to rally around and play at their best.
Rod?
You had to move Jordan Williams inside because of everything that was going on there with the flu injuries, etc. And Jakaya had to play, I guess, his first full game out there at tackle. What did you see there?
We did. We moved Jordan inside. It was for reasons, but let's don't make a mistake that a big part of that was the development of Jakaya. And the job as offensive line coach is to get the best 5 guys on the field at the same time. And that's what we're looking at doing, is trying to find the best combinations, getting the best guys on the field. And Jordan went in there for the first time, did a nice job, provided a big body in there, protection. First time in there, he was solid in some of the things. A lot of things he's got to learn. One of the things I told him again on the sideline, I said, "Hey, you're a lot closer to the center now. Okay, you can't sit there and say, well, he said this. I was waiting on this. Hey, you're right there next to him. Open your ears and listen. A little different now." So just some little things like that we're glad we're able to come out with a win, and now we get those things corrected tomorrow.
Kelly?
Can you just talk, Zach? This was a really pretty hostile environment to play in, and not great conditions again this week. And just as coach, kind of how much did you guys feel confident in putting everything on him? I know you guys held back a little bit in the first half last week, but it seemed like it was a pretty open playbook for him today too.
It was, but at the same time, we gave him the tools that we felt like he could operate the best. And a big message to not just the players, the staff, everyone in the entire team this week was, it's not about the plays, it's not about the number of plays you run, it's about the execution of the plays that are called. And I think by running one play 4 different ways, for that quarterback sitting back there, it's still the same thing he's reading, the same thing he's looking at, but he's giving a different presentation picture for the defense. So I thought the staff did a good job this week of doing that, to put it in Zach's hands.
You had the 2 field goals you took inside the 5. Can you kind of go through your thinking of how much did you consider going forward and trying to get the touchdown?
Yeah, it's all based on the flow of the game at that time. Pat Boyle sits there with the book and says, it's this or this. Well, I believe in studying analytics, and I believe in going with your gut when the game's going. That's what it is. And we went forward on the 4th and 1 when we ran the quarterback sneak. And it was to the point of the game. I felt like that was the best thing we had to do to be able to move the ball. We run it a couple of times, get the quarterback sneak. We didn't get it. So, again, we got something we've got to go back to and make sure we have those 4th and 1 calls and we're able to execute those regardless of where we are on the football field, knowing they're going to be playing to stop those things. But I don't regret those decisions one bit.
We'll take one from Rod, one from Kelly, and wrap up with Coach K.
When you look at the offense, Carter and McCollum are 2 guys you can always count on to make those big plays when you need them, and they really came through today. I mean, what can you say about those 2?
Well, they want the ball. They're 2 guys, and it's not just them. There's other guys as well. But those guys have really found a way of and a knack of getting open, running the right routes, understanding the coverage that's going on the other side that they have to attack, and then whether it's zone coverage sitting in the windows or being able to separate from anything any man coverage. They've done a good job. This was Malachi's 55th game to prepare as a Georgia Tech football player. And that's a lot of football, guys. That's a lot of football played by him. 55 games. Now, you credit some of that to COVID, but to be able to play in 55 football games in your college career, that's something not a lot of people can say. And Nate, golly, he's a competitor in every single way that you can imagine.
Kelly, wrap us up, please.
On the good bad, obviously Gavin's still kicking the ball really well, but punt coverage again an issue. It seems like maybe he's rushing the ball out a little bit, or is that just still having a guy that's just not played a ton of football and him still trying to get used to that?
Yeah, we'll go back and look at the tape and make sure we have the exact things that went on punt and be able to go in tomorrow night and address them, fix them, get on the field tomorrow night and start correcting them and get ready for the next game.
Can you talk about Gavin a little bit too and his kicking?
Yeah, well, when you ask about going for it inside the 10, inside the 5 versus kicking a field goal, when you have a guy like Gavin that you can kick the field goal and you're going to get the points, and your defense is got the ability to create turnovers, create some negative plays on the other side. it gives you just so much more confidence in the way you play the game. And because when you making a decision to go for it on fourth down, it's not necessarily just the fourth down. It goes back to, okay, what is the call on second down? When you're telling the play caller, all right, hey, you got 4 downs this drive, or we're playing for 3, playing for 3 or playing for a field goal. So that starts to affect that first down call and that second down call as well. So when you have the confidence in your kicker that he can make the field goals when he's asked to, it takes a lot off of everyone.